Yes, we believe it is the duty of the vanguard political movement which brings about change to educate people's outlooks. I mean, in the same way that blacks have never lived in a socialist economic system, they're going to learn to live in one. In the same way that they've always lived in a racially divided society, they've got to learn to live in a non-racial society.
All right, welcome to your view with me on Kopotse JJ Tabane. Tonight, very somber day as we remember Stephen Bantu Biko. 1977, he was wantonly murdered by the apartheid regime. And he really were told a story of horror of how he lived his last days. And the question is, did he die in vain? If you listen earlier on to the news, there was a clip where he's talking about the fact that freedom without economic freedom is useless. And we still went into the negotiations in 1994 and negotiated half-baked freedom. We negotiated, as Professor Musala was telling us last night, a settlement that excluded land. It's inexplicable when you look at it now. When you look at the amount of landlessness and what it causes our people, the depravity and the poverty that it causes, you wonder why is it that our leaders sat down with the benefit of what people like Biko had said, with the wisdom that exists within the broader democratic movement, and they still came with a deal that clearly was devoid of black consciousness. Because if it was not devoid of black consciousness, it would have said that the land is not negotiable. It can't be that it took 25 years before we hear politically expedient noises about land. Professor Musala yesterday telling us also that the black consciousness has left the room. It has left the room when you look at the amount of crime and corruption that is in our country. Because that crime and corruption can only talk about the absence of self-love. We're in deep trouble. And it is no exaggeration that Stephen Biko must be turning in his grave. When he sees how black people are on each other's throats, when he sees how black people are not happy for each other's success, when he sees what is called the PhD syndrome, and nothing to do with education, but pulling him down, pulling her down syndrome, which has become a staple diet. It's a staple diet in government, where spheres of government led by black people cannot work together. Where spheres of government led by people from the same political party cannot work together. Where a minister comes into office, when they exit, their successor does not care what they were doing, does not continue their work because I sit up as a minister so and so. Pull him down. We were in the grip of that. When you listen to the State Capture Commission and listen to how rotten people were, and some of them don't even, they can't even see that they were rotten. They still go there to justify their actions. Then you know black consciousness has left the room. When the political consciousness leaves the room, you wake up and suddenly you argue that no, Africans must be locked in camps. And it's shocking that such things could even come from people like Musua Lekoda, who went to Robben Island as BC people, big BC people. About BC, man. Naka chapter and verse, I write what I like, big. How I the Africans must be in a camp. They must not be integrated into our society because there are less of black people. They are children of a lesser God. Stephen Biko must be turning in his grave. When some of these people who were prophets of his philosophies today have forgotten, they have become so fat with when their fellow African brothers are starving from malnutrition. He must be turning in his grave. There's no other way of imagining how he's looking down on us right now. Today we're told of crime statistics. Raimagad, the politicians go parliament, hey, hey man, crime is unacceptable. Some of them are the most corrupt people who are giving a wrong signal to ordinary people who are walking the street that it's all right, man. It's all right to brandish the okapi and so on, because that's what they are doing. It's all right to do cash in transit heists because they live in cash in transit heists formally, in broad daylight. The Auditor General telling us not so long ago how rotten to the core are some of the municipalities which are facing the people, cold face of the people, but in broad daylight. It's a normal thing. When the citizens look up to them and do this in robberies, in muggings, in contact crimes, all of which are thought to have gone up, murders, attempted murder, by Magat, they went to another planet and then came back to listen to their statistics. They're shaking their head. No, this can't be our country. This is unacceptable. Something must be done. They should start by resigning for being such thieves. Because that is the theft that is encouraging people to be rampant in society by Tirela. Because crime takes its cue from corruption. Because those criminals know they're going to get away with it. They're going to sell a docket. They're going to buy a judge. They're going to bribe a magistrate. Hey, what is the rate of convictions is so low. How can this happen to us? Let's listen to what Patrick Lumumba had to say about corruption.
Would you agree that corruption should be treated as a crime against humanity?
Without doubt. And I've always said, and I think that this, sometimes you've got to raise things to the level of the absurd. Because what does corruption do to a country? Look at the thieving ways of Mobutu Sese Seko in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Congo has never recovered from the thieving of Mobutu and his acolytes. How many people did not have medicine in hospitals, including a hospital named after his own mother, Mama Yemo in Kinshasa? How many died? Perhaps more than in the Holocaust. How many people have died in the Cameroons in the 30 years that Paul Biya has been the president through corruption, and all that money is tucked away in Paris in France? How many people die in our roads because of potholes, because some government official took away money that ought to have been used to make good roads? So this is a crime against humanity, for which punishment should be the ultimate punishment. And in China, they do exactly that. They come to this part of the world, they corrupt our leaders, but if you are corrupt in China, they'll deal with you firmly, swiftly, and take away your life, so that you are no longer a danger to society. I believe that corruption should be a crime against humanity.
I cannot agree more. Indeed, a crime against humanity, but a crime against self. Corruption is a crime against self. Because when you are stealing money that's supposed to build pit latrines and children drown in it, you are inflicting pain on yourself. When you steal money that's supposed to build roads and your relatives die on those roads, you are inflicting pain upon yourself. When you steal money of textbooks and your children grow up without consciousness, you are inflicting pain upon the future of this country. And so it's not an exaggeration. It's not absurd to suggest that as we remember Stephen Biko, does he remember us at all? And he looks down on us, is he turning in his grave? And with the things that are happening that demonstrate the lack of consciousness, I don't see how he could be resting in peace. What are we going to do? Tell us, is black consciousness still a relevant concept that we should pursue in this day and age? Tell us on hashtag your view on 405. Would like to hear your own views about it. But when I look around us, I see as little and little black consciousness every single day. As you listen to some of the politicians talk, not far from black consciousness. Some of them are without conscience at all. Some of them don't mind. I don't know how they sleep at night when half of this country lives in poverty and they continue cluelessly marching on as if nothing has happened. Hey, this crime is so much weighty. You know, crime is so much. You know, Becky Taylor just a year ago said to me, the people, because now he had now come back into the position now and he was all, you know, all hyped up. I don't know, these crime statistics are fake. They were faked by the same police because they like this thing of saying, oh, in 10 years' time, this is how they are looking. We want to know this year, how far are the murders? Don't tell us about 10 years. I don't know what he fake is. And today, you want to say statistics general. Hey, Nasa was also chancing. He brought a statistics general. Hey, please endorse these numbers. And kudos to him for that, because we really are tired of statistics, lies, and statistics. Those statistics, or we are in deep trouble. Well done to the police for lowering some of the cash in transit vehicles. You know, we are thankful for small mercies. After the break, we talk to the son of Stephen Biko, Nkosinati Biko, and we talk about the legacy of his father and how he, amongst others, he is pursuing that legacy not be forgotten. Let's take a break now.